Hi, welcome to the DC Marvel Battlecast, where we discuss all things DC and Marvel related, review superhero films, and debate who would win in Marvel vs. DC matchups. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
The song that you heard at the beginning was Black and Yellow by Wiz Khalifa from the album Rolling Papers. This song is available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you buy or stream music. You can also find it on the DC Marvel Battlecast's Spotify playlist.
Right.
So go on Spotify, search for DC Marvel Battlecast, one word, and you'll find it there, as well as the rest of the songs that we play at the beginning of our shows.
Right.
We chose that song because it was used
pretty heavily in the marketing for the Lego Batman.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a decent song. Actually, I remember when it first came out, I was like, "Oh my god, this song sucks." But it's kind of grown on me, actually.
Well, I feel that way about a lot of music I don't understand. I'm like, why is this a song? I don't know, but it's a good song.
Yeah. So this week we have a lot of news this week. Like I know, like for the past couple months we've been saying, God, there's no news. These past 2 weeks totally made up for it. We have a lot to talk about.
News is picking up for sure.
Yeah, so we're going to be going over all the Batman news about Ben Affleck, stepping down as the director and what's going to happen with that. We're going to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Super Bowl spot because it was mostly new footage, so it's worth talking about. Yeah. We're going to talk about new Aquaman casting news, and as well as casting news for the Marvel TV shows Runaways and Cloak and Dagger. We're also going to be going over the Iron Fist trailer, and finally, the pilots for both Powerless and Legion, a Marvel show and a DC show, have debuted this past week. So we're going to be talking about our thoughts on those as well.
Right.
So
just on the pilots. I haven't seen the second Powerless episode because we'll get into that.
Yeah, if you listen to the show, we don't normally talk about. I don't think since the show started, a new show has come out. We haven't seen a pilot since we started this podcast. But I think
the shows that have like Luke Cage, we've reviewed the entire season.
Right. But yeah, like these network shows, we'll just talk about the pilots and probably talk about the season as a whole, our thoughts on the season when the season ends.
Maybe.
We'll see. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be talking about that. And after that, of course, we'll be reviewing the Lego Batman movie, which we both saw last night.
Yep.
And it should be fun. But first, before we get into all that...
Trivia time!
It's a new segment that we introduced a couple episodes ago. And I've gotten a good response to. So basically what we're going to do is we ask you guys a trivia question. Whoever answers it first on our Twitter or Instagram gets a DC Marvel Battlecast no prize. Kind of like the no prizes that Marvel used to give out back in the 70s and 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
So last week, our question was, give the names used by a single character that has existed in both the Marvel and DC universes who went by a different name in each universe.
Right.
And the hint that we gave was... the writer that created this character also carried them over to Eclipse Comics, where she went by the name of Lorelei. Mm-hmm. So the person to get it right this time is a longtime listener, one of our favorite listeners, Mr. Tim Brown. He gave the answer of Mantis and Willow.
Yeah, he actually got the answer really quick. Like as soon as we dropped the episode, like that same day.
Yeah, he didn't even need the hint.
No, he didn't.
So good job. You definitely know your stuff. So Mantis, of course, is going to be in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Right.
The writer Steve what was his name? Steve Engelbert, something like that. Engelbret, one of those names. He carried the character over to DC when he switched over to Justice League, and she went under the name of Willow. And it seems to be kind of like a character that he's carried with him wherever he's gone.
Right.
But she's traditionally a Marvel character, and again, we'll see her in that upcoming Marvel movie. So
I'd like to think if they used her in a DC film, which I would be surprised if they
be the same actress.
It would be the same actress.
That would be awesome. Cool. That would be really awesome.
Little Easter egg there.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a new question for you guys this week, and since Valentine's Day is coming up in a few days, we figured we'd make it kind of Valentine's Day themed. So the question this week is: in the comics, which Marvel character has locked lips on several occasions with which DC character? We'll go ahead and give you a hint later on in this episode.
Yep.
So if you know the answer, go ahead and submit your answer to our Instagram. Our Instagram is DC Marvel Battlecast, one word.
Or our Twitter, at DC Marvel Battle.
Yep. Or you could email us at dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com. The answer must include the name of the Marvel character and the name of the DC character that have kissed.
Right. And no matter where you submit your answer, once we award you a no prize, we'll post that in several locations. So you'll see it on Twitter, you'll see it on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you email us, we'll email it to you.
Right.
So.
And remember, the first person to get it right, according to the timestamp,
right,
will be the one to win. I know last question we had a few late entries, and they didn't get no prizes because they weren't the first to answer. But,
right.
So make sure you're the first.
And also, just a reminder, Adam Spees and Tim Brown are not eligible for this no prize.
We'll say every 2 episodes. So like we'll say that like the next episode, Spees is eligible to answer again.
That sounds good.
I think that's fair enough. Like a month.
Yeah,
give it a month. Anyway, so again, we'll give a hint for that question later on in the episode. So listen for that. And with that, we'll get into the news since there's a lot of it. So
yeah. So remember like a few episodes ago where you learned that Tim Miller was no longer directing Deadpool.
Yeah,
and you said how depressed you were.
Heartbreaking.
That does not hold a candle. That was only a fraction of the depression that I felt.
Really?
When I learned that Ben Affleck was not going to be directing the Batman film.
Yeah, we learned this several weeks ago, I remember.
Yeah. Really, really crappy news to like come into work to. I was like, what? Well, I don't even want to come to work today. I just want to lay home in bed and cry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like this, like the whole Ben Affleck directing the Batman movie thing has kind of been like the whole cornerstone of like the DC excitement.
Yeah,
I guess
it was the most. I think it was. I was excited for.
Yeah, like all these other movies could suck, but Ben Affleck is directing the Batman.
That was like my ace in the hole. Yeah, it's like you could talk all the shit you wanted about DC. I'm like, whatever, dude. Ben Affleck's directing Batman. You know.
Yeah.
So. Super sad, and like a few people I think online saw it coming, just because Ben Affleck had been saying like, going back and forth on as to whether he was directing, and then he was mentioning like how if he was going to direct, it would be really need to change the suit.
Yeah,
it would be too difficult because like he has like no peripheral vision. His vision is really limited in the cowl. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
for him to direct, like they would need to find a workaround for that. So I wasn't. I mean,
yeah, and he was getting pretty frustrated with the press who were constantly asking him about that while he was trying to promote.
Yeah, super frustrated.
Live by Night.
So I mean, in some instances, like I understand where he's coming from, but I mean, and ultimately, I guess this is good news in a way.
Well, like I'm just thinking. Okay, so he said he'll still stay on board as a producer,
right?
And of course he'll still star in it,
right?
But it's like when you were first in talks to direct and all this was, getting promoted, and you were even quoted as saying that you will be directing the film.
Unless the script is bad.
It's like, dude, didn't you think about the difficulties with the costume and everything like that?
Maybe they've been trying to find a workaround and just weren't.
I think the critical and box office reception to Live by Night had a huge impact on this decision. I think it really kind of.
I wouldn't be surprised
because this is his first kind of
critical misstep,
and like I even heard it. I heard it's not even a bad movie.
From what I've heard, like it's a great film. The thing, like a lot of what bothers me about this whole thing is that like I feel like he's been bullied by the media and by the internet, and so now like they just don't like the idea of Ben Affleck for some reason. So, like, even though he's, like, a talented filmmaker, and he comes out with a good movie, which wasn't perfect, but I heard, like, it was still a good film.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's, like, well, why... Kevin Smith had a good, like reaction to this whole thing where he was, like, sort of explaining, like, why even, like, put myself through that? Like, why even bother? I don't need that, you know?
Right.
So...
It kind of feels like a rehash of the early 2000s. Where, like, for some reason, people just love to pick on Ben Affleck. And I kind of want to make a video put some eyeliner on, bleach my hair.
Leave Ben Affleck alone.
Leave Ben Affleck alone. It's true, though. It's, like, the guy doesn't get a fair shake. Like, he had to, like, start winning Oscars for people to start respecting him again. And, he's a talented guy. And
well, like, his first project, like, major project, like, outside of, like, a Kevin Smith film, Good Will Hunting earned him an Oscar.
Right.
He came out the gate winning Oscars pretty much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He should have never dated J-Lo.
That was his, yeah. If he never did that, it would all be fine right now. I don't know. But Chris Terrio, it sounds like he's doing a rewrite on the script, or did a rewrite.
He did a rewrite. So, I mean, Ben Affleck said way back in the day, he was like, yeah, if the script is good, I'll direct. So it was kind of disconcerting to hear that he wasn't directing anymore. It was like, oh, does that mean the script is bad? Because he had been saying for a while, like, we need to get the script right. The script isn't right yet.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
there were deeper implications to him stepping down from the director than just, oh, I don't want to do it because it'll be too hard. Right. It was also like people started like reaching that and saying, oh, the script is shit now. Like the whole movie's going to fall apart. He's going to step down as star and things like that.
Yeah.
They were,
Well, there's been a ton of like speculation. Forbes published a piece recently saying that like, because it came out that the Flash is going back to a page one rewrite. Mm-hmm. So in the Forbes article, they're like, and who knows, maybe Ben Affleck's Batman film is going back to page one. And it's like, that was just speculation, but all the other websites ran with like, oh, they're scrapping the Batman.
Fucking clickbait, man.
I know, seriously.
It is destroying our society.
I don't think it was intentionally clickbait. I think it was just, it was sort of like a healthy journalistic speculation. But I mean, actually the guy who broke the news that it's a Variety, a journalist for Variety. Mm-hmm. He broke news about like Ben Affleck stepping down and stuff. He seems to have a much better inside source. He was saying like, no, they're not doing a page one rewrite. In fact, the draft that Chris Terrio submitted a month ago, Ben Affleck and Warner Brothers are both very happy with.
Yeah.
He posted that on Twitter.
That's good.
And then of course he's breaking the same journalist has broken the news that the new director, more or less, like pretty much almost guaranteed, is going to be Matt Reeves. Which
is fantastic news. I think, like in my dream world, I would have like hoped for like a Scorsese because like Ben Affleck's directing style, I always thought was very similar to Scorsese's.
Yeah, I agree.
But he would never do it.
He's watching Scorsese films as he's like brushing up on how to do his craft. Yeah, and I was also hoping like my second like dream pick would have been like Alfonso Cuarón, because he knows how to work within the universe, because he did a Harry Potter movie and stuff, but he also did Children of Men, which was fantastic. Yeah, but I am a huge fan of Matt Reeves. I'm super happy with this pick. I'm not that thrilled with it. I haven't seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, it's so good. I saw Cloverfield, which I really liked. When I saw that in theaters, that like blew my mind. I know it has a lot of like detractors, but I really liked it. Cloverfield is good. It's shaky cam. I liked it. It's shaky cam. It was during that whole kind of shaky cam fad, but it was a good film. But I'm judging this based off of Let Me In, which is that vampire movie. I saw the. I didn't see the American version of that. Yeah, it's a great. I would say they're equal in terms of the Swedish version, Let the Right One In, and the American version, Let Me In. I would say the American version takes some twists and not twists and turns, but liberties. They take some liberties with the material, but they're good liberties, like kind of ones that you kind of wish were in the Swedish version. Huh. They do a good job. He's a fantastic director. I also really liked Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That was a fantastic movie, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. You'll be so excited for this news if you do that. I need to see it. He doesn't sound like a big name director to me, but I do know that he has like some experience like taking over franchises and like from other directors. Yeah, and like picking up during the production schedule, like taking over. So that's encouraging. Watch both those films, and then come back to me. And then War isn't out yet. Oh, you mean Let Me In? Yeah, watch Let Me In and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, I want to see. Watch Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I'm definitely going to see them now, and then I'll probably see War when it comes out too. War of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah. So you were like depressed 2 weeks ago, but like today with this news that from Variety that Matt Reeves is set to take over, it's kind of like, we had enough time to flip-flop before the podcast episode. So like it kind of turned into depressing news, or it started as depressing news. Yeah, it won't be as depressing as the last episode. Into good news. Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't say like I'm still like thrilled by this because, maybe I just need to become more familiar with Matt Reeves' work again, but
do that and you'll be thrilled. I promise you.
The biggest silver lining to come out of this, for me at least, is that they were supposed to start production for the Batman in May. Mm-hmm. And they were talking. This Variety article was saying that they had been talking about pushing that back, anyways. Even if Ben Affleck was directing, just to give him more breathing room.
Yeah.
So
yeah, make that guy happy, please.
Yeah. And so
he's a great Batman.
Right. They were saying, do whatever you can to make Ben Affleck happy, to make him stay on as Batman.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I'm sure they will too.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the biggest parts for me that of the DC extended universe so far. He was one of the best parts of Batman v Superman, and then
he was the best part of Suicide Squad.
He was the best part of Suicide Squad. Yeah. So the fact that they may be able to stay on track, production wise, schedule wise, for the most part, is really encouraging. That's the most encouraging news to come out of this for me.
Yeah.
Is that they may be able to stay on track. Now, I don't know if this means that it'll come out in 2018. So far, I think the only DC film to come out in 2018 is going to be Aquaman. And of course, that's not until the tail end of 2018. So there will be a drought after Justice League.
Yeah. Unless
they could get Suicide Squad, Gotham City Sirens up and running. That's possible, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
I'm still waiting on Flash news. I wish seems like they're going to announce the director for Batman before they announce the director for Flash. But I guess that since that's going through a script rewrite, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Is that it for that news?
I think so.
Okay, so we don't usually comment on commercials, but the Super Bowl spot for Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and it was all new footage and a lot of interesting stuff happening there. So we thought it was worth commenting on.
Well, we talked about the Super Bowl stuff last year, too.
Oh, that's right, we did. I don't remember actually seeing this during the commercial. I think I got up to use during the game, I mean.
I didn't actually watch the Super Bowl this year.
You didn't?
I didn't want to see the Patriots win. So
it was so depressing. I hate the Patriots.
I saw the score at halftime, and I was like, holy shit, there's a chance. And I tried to watch it, but my daughters were like, no, we want to watch the Trolls movie. So I was like, all right, fine.
Well, the Patriots didn't even come back into, they didn't really do much until the fourth quarter. It was all fourth quarter for them, and they just went off like beasts. And it was so frustrating to watch. If it was the Broncos against the Patriots, I probably would have killed myself. Probably wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Jeez.
But, I feel really bad for Falcons fans.
Enough sports talk.
Anyway, enough sports ball. Talking about which team sports harder than the other team. So I totally missed the preview, so I had to go online and watch it. And I really like what I saw. So we get our first look. It starts off with Aisha. We get to see her.
Yeah, we got to see our first look at her, and she's the main villain.
Yes, right? and in the comics, she is the wife to Adam Warlock. So. And in here, it appears like this whole planet, it's a whole race of beings, these genetically engineered beings. So it makes me wonder kind of about how if they're ever going to implement Adam Warlock into the MCU, and how they would do that. If they would make him
if they did,
a member
their gateway
of this race, yeah. But really, there's only supposed to be 2 of them. But from this trailer, it looks like there's a lot more, because everybody there is gold and everything. So anyway. So I read kind of a plot synopsis type thing, and it said that so apparently this race of beings, they're being hounded by the Obelisk, which is that big tentacle monster. So they kidnap Nebula in an effort to try to hold her ransom for the Guardians of the Galaxy to kill the Obelisk.
Which is an interesting approach to getting the Guardians to do something for you.
Yeah.
By kidnapping their enemy. I don't know.
Yeah. But we see some of that action. We get that Fleetwood Mac song. I forget what it's called. Break the Chain or something like that. Something with chains. It's a pretty good song. I bet you it's going to be on the Volume 2 mix.
I didn't even notice that. I totally wasn't paying attention to the music for this one.
Really?
It should have been.
Oh.
Fleetwood Mac, huh?
Yeah. But it kind of gives just short snapshots of each of the main cast of the characters. There's a cool shot of Gamora holding this gun that's as big as a Buick.
Right.
It's really cool looking.
Or we finally get to hear her make a sound, because this whole time she hasn't, in any of the promotional material for Volume 2, we haven't heard her deliver a line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know she will. It's just
weird though.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to hear her talk, not just like make facial expressions.
Yeah, we see Drax fight the obelisk and see some more Rocket. So this commercial seems to confirm even more than the trailers that came before that it is in fact true that Yondu and Nebula and Mantis will be joining the team. If that wasn't apparent before, they're not just going to be side characters. They're actually joining the team.
Right.
And that's kind of reinforced by Rocket saying when Yondu's like, "What's that now?" And he's like, he says, "Welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy."
Since he didn't use freaking.
I just like the idea of Baby Groot cursing. It's funny to me. So one thing that I thought was a little weird about the trailer was Mantis.
At the end where she gets hit by like the flaming meteorite. I was like kind of offended by that. I was like, did we just see her die?
Well, no, I mean, she has a healing factor. She can like regrow her body in the comics. Like she can heal herself because through her training, but she can also like regrow. She could like project her astral form and like travel to another planet and then regrow a new body through the vegetation life there. And that's why in the comics, that's why she's green, because she's like vegetable matter. Right. But in this movie, she's not green. No. So I guess they're just gonna give her like a healing factor type thing. I don't know if they're gonna make her like be able to regrow from using plant life and things like that.
I don't want to see like a smushed female body. You know, I don't want to see that, even if it like grows back. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, so in the plot synopsis, it looks like she is a representative of Ego, the living planet, Star-Lord's dad.
Yeah.
So it seems like what they're doing is, if you know the Mantis character, she kind of copulates with a plant race known as the Kotati that live on, I forget the name of the planet, but so that's where she. It looks like they're combining like maybe the Kotati and Ego is what I'm thinking, because the Kotati, they can manifest a human version of their plant self, and that's how they manifested as swordsmen, and Mantis boned swordsman.
That's right,
and that's how they had the kid, because she's the Celestial Madonna. That's how she got pregnant.
Right.
So it seems like Ego, the living planet, he will be able to manifest a human form, just kind of like how the Kotati
as
are
Kurt Russell
in the comics, as Kurt Russell. So that's interesting.
I can't wait to see like a floating giant Kurt Russell planet head.
That's probably not going to happen. I bet you they're not going to go that route.
You don't think?
I don't think so, because it'll be too reminiscent of Nowhere, which was the big floating celestial head.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think they're going to do it.
I think it might confuse people, and they'll be like, "Oh, is Ego another celestial head or something like that?" I don't know. I don't see them going that route. I see them just going like the whole manifestation route.
Lame.
But there was another part with Mantis earlier when they were giving like her little snapshot, and she was like, "Please don't shoot." It was like a weird line, and she obviously wasn't saying that in the clip that they showed. Like, it was like dubbed over.
They did that a few times, like with even like with Drax, where he's like, "This is awesome."
And who the hell do you think you are? Like, Aisha's not saying that. You could tell. Either that or this whole movie is dubbed. Because not a lot of the dialogue is matching up. But like, yeah, like they portrayed Mantis as just this weird, awkward character, and I'm sure she's awkward, but like to be like her badass moment is like, "Please don't shoot," and then she like gets smushed by a meteorite. It's just like, it's a little awkward.
They're not selling her at all.
No, they're not. She's more badass than that. She's extremely badass in the comics.
One thing I kind of noticed from the plot description that was released was that like it seems like a very like detached film from the rest of the cinematic universe.
Yeah,
like it sounds very like self-contained in a way.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like wondering, it was like the bad guy even James Gunn has gone on the record of saying like, this is not like a Thanos level bad guy. It's like more like personal bad guys.
Uh-huh.
And like, I'm just wondering how, without like an Infinity Stone in this film or anything like that, how does this tie in to the rest of the phase 3?
It probably doesn't.
So they just made a sequel just to make a sequel?
Yeah, which they're allowed to do.
You take a look at like Iron Man 2 or 3 or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Self-contained stories are fine. Look at Winter Soldier. Well, I guess that had ramifications with S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything.
Right.
But yeah, every once in a while you don't need to have it so episodic. Like, Civil War was extremely episodic. Like, you probably wouldn't get a lot of that film, I imagine, if you wouldn't have seen a lot of the previous ones.
Right.
But this one, it's just kind of good for, a good romp, a good ride. But yeah, going back to Mantis real quick, I am interested. I didn't actually speak to anybody, but I'd be interested in speaking to somebody, who doesn't know who Mantis is or what her powers are, what they thought of that. Like, because people don't know that she has a healing factor, so they're probably wondering, did I just see her die?
She just witnessed a murder, or a death at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, but that pretty much takes you to the end. I did think it was funny, though, when Drax was like, look out! He's like, I tried, guys.
Yeah, the timing was...
The comedic timing was
good.
But I think that takes us to the end of that news, and moving on to the Aquaman casting news.
So super exciting news. Black Manta has been cast in the Aquaman movie, which, holy crap.
It's not just going to be Ocean Master.
You.
It sounds like...
Right.
So what does this mean for the Aquaman movie? What does it mean for Ocean Master?
It means that I think they're going to save Ocean Master for... to be the villain of like a sequel or something like that.
Kind of like a Loki.
Honestly, like Ocean Master could be like the villain of a Justice League film.
Yeah.
I mean, so the fact that like they're using Black Manta means I think he's going to be the primary villain, which thank goodness. Holy crap.
It's really cool. Also, Black Manta has always had kind of an interesting look, like with the weird dome face.
It's very like Darth Vader.
Yeah. I've always wanted to see a live action adaptation of that helmet.
And I'm sure James Wan is going to make it look really badass.
Yeah.
Because like usually I find like in cartoons and comics and stuff, like the look either really, really works or it really doesn't. It's like just like too weird and over the top.
Yeah.
But when it works really well, it's like very Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
So who was cast? I want to hear you pronounce this.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yeah. He seems pretty good. I haven't seen him in much.
I haven't seen him in anything.
I think the most recent thing I saw him in was the trailer for Baywatch.
Yes,
and it was pretty funny.
Right. Here's the cop.
He's the guy who's like,
people.
He's like, there's no fucking thing as lifeguard pursuit. I swear, I don't know what it is about you people. He seems pretty funny.
Yeah,
but he seems like a good actor. So
I hear great things about what show was he on Netflix? Some like 70s.
Oh shoot.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard...
The Bounce? No.
Something like that. Something like that.
One of those. Yeah. Damn it, we suck at this. Should I look it up?
No,
or
it's
is it
fine.
important? Okay.
It's not he's on Netflix. The show, I guess, was really good. He's like the villain of that show. Yeah. And people who are familiar with it, I've seen like comments on like, oh yeah, he's great in this show. So you want like Black Manta to be super villainous. So the fact that I'm hearing that he pulls off a villain role really well is super encouraging. I can't wait to see him on screen. He looks like I've heard he's tall, so that's good for going up against Jason Momoa, who's a freaking giant.
Who's a tall guy himself, yeah. You know what's weird is that he's going to be the villain, or not the villain. He's going to have a role in Baywatch, and Jason Momoa got his start in Baywatch.
Yeah. I guess that's, small world.
It's all going to be Baywatch. I'm just kidding. But there was other casting news.
Yeah, there was other casting news. So Tamura Morrison, who played, I think that's how you pronounce it, who played Abin Sur in the Green Lantern film, is going to play...
And he was Jango Fett too, right?
Yeah, and Jango Fett.
Yeah.
I should have said Jango Fett before I said Abin Sur. People were probably more familiar with that. But he's going to play Arthur Curry.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it makes sense. And then I guess they're saying... Nicole Kidman is going to play Atlanna.
She's in talks or something, right?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Tamura, but I mean, from the sounds of it, like they're pretty much locked in.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I remember like Nicole Kidman's name being touted around during like when they were talking about Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see that she's back on board. She obviously liked what she saw to be interested to come back on into this universe.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've always had this huge crush on Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman was like my first crush.
Yeah.
Like back when I was a kid, like in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
I was like, who is she? What's happening in my pants?
Yeah, it was probably from Batman Forever. Totally. So the fact that she's involved, I'm always excited whenever she's involved.
Yeah. She looks a little bit different now than she did back in the mid-90s, but
Not too different.
She's still a classy lady.
Yeah,
I like Nicole Kidman. And still beautiful as ever. So
Yeah.
excited for that. And speaking of casting news, are we done with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of casting news, the Marvel has announced the stars of the Runaway series that's going to be on Hulu later on this year. So I never I've read Runaways. I read the first arc just because.
That's Brian K. Vaughan, right?
Yes, it's
He's
Brian
a
K. Vaughan.
great writer.
He's a great writer. Like I was never too impressed with the series. I know a lot of people are, so that might give me some flack. But I always I've only read the first major arc, and really I only collected it because Cloak and Dagger were on the cover of like issue. I think it was like issue 6 or something like that. So I collected that, and I was like, oh, I guess I should collect the rest of this. So I read it, and the dialogue was always very teenagery to me, and it was very removed from the Marvel universe. Like it could not even take place in the same universe.
Yeah,
it could be like an Image comic or something like that. At least that first arc was, but it has some good writing, and I think one of the reasons it gets so much praise is because it has a pretty decent twist in the series itself.
What?
I'm not going to get into that.
There's a twist?
Yeah.
I don't know the twist. I don't want to know the twist.
But basically the setup is that it's a group of kids who discover that their parents are supervillains.
So they run away.
So they run away, basically.
Yeah. Wait, was that the twist?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm not going to tell you the twist.
Okay, yeah. Don't tell me the twist.
But like the villains were not like major Marvel villains. They were like all new characters, all of them. So yeah, that kind of, it felt very removed. So I haven't even done much thinking about the Runaways since I first read that first arc and everything. That was like back in.
I forgot that they were even making a show about it.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that too. But what got me excited and what made me want to talk about it is the cast that they got. They look fantastic. So a lot of these names people might not know, but if you look them up and you're fans of the Runaways, you might get excited as well. So Renzi Feliz, he's from Teen Wolf. He's going to be Alex Wilder.
Don't know him.
No, you don't know these? I don't know if any of these. Lyrica Okano is going to be Nico. So I'll kind of go through their powers too. So Renzi Feliz, Alex Wilder, he's kind of like the leader of the Runaways. He has a super genius intellect, and his two parents are they're like the Lex Luthors of the group. Like each villain within the Pride is like their own archetype. So he and his parents are like the genius archetypes. Mm-hmm. So his parents are like Lex Luthor. And Lyrica Okano, who's playing Nico, her parents in the Pride are like the mystics, like the Eastern mystics. Uh-huh. And she has the Staff of One. That's her ability, but she can only pull it out when her blood is spilled. But it can do. Whoa! The Staff of One can cast any spell she wants it to, but it can only cast it one time. So like I remember she's like freeze, and like the people froze, but then when she tried to freeze them. People a second time, these other people, a lamb just shot out or something like that. What? So like it malfunctions when you try to reuse a spell. So she always has to do different things.
Like forever?
Yeah, one time she teamed up with the Vision, and the Vision had like a thesaurus. So she was like trying to do the same spell multiple times, and so he was just giving her like thesaurus words of the synonyms. Mm-hmm. So she was able to do it like that. It's kind of interesting. But so yeah, that's her archetype. Virginia Garden is playing Carolina Dean, and her superhero name is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD. She's an alien. It turns out that her parents are aliens, so they're the alien archetype of the Pride villain group. And she has like rainbow skin, and she can like shoot light beams and things like that. Huh. And she's like kind of like the model like of the group, like the attractive tall blonde. Ariella Barber from New Girl is Gert Yorks, who's kind of like the nerdy one of the group, the nerdy girl. Her parents are like steampunk time travelers. That's like her thing. And what her power is, like they went into the future and like kind of did genetic engineering to create like a super intelligent velociraptor that will listen to her commands. So her power is that she can
I always thought that was a T-Rex.
It's like a raptor. It's not too much taller than her.
Okay.
But it's called like Arsenic and Old Lace. Her name is Arsenic. Old Lace is the raptor that's what she named it.
Of course, Brian K. Vaughan would do that.
Yeah. So Greg Sulkin is going to be Chase Stein, and he's kind of like the jock of the group. Although he's pretty smart. His parents are like the mad scientists of the Pride. So
like Lex Luthor. I thought you said.
Well, Lex Luthor. So they're more businessmen. The Lex Luthor group is like.
Okay.
More businessmen. These guys are like mad scientists, like Rick from Rick and Morty, mad scientist kind of thing.
Okay.
That kind of thing, like Doc Brown. And so what his power is, he steals from their lab these gauntlets that are super powerful to shoot super powerful blasts, and he has these X-ray specs too as well. So basically, he's the tech guy. And his name is Talkback anyway. And then the last one is Allegra Acosta. Who plays Molly Hernandez, and her parents are telepathic mutants. They have psychic powers, and so she's although she has super strength, that's what her mutant power manifested as. But she's like the youngest one; she's only like 9 or 11 or something like that. So that's the cast. Who they cast as the parents is equally as impressive in terms of the look. I guess I'll go through the names real quick. Kip Pardue, he was in. Remember the Titans. I guess I won't go through all these names because a lot of them aren't big names. And
I don't know.
You can kind of look them up
names.
yourself. But one of the guys, James Marsters, he was in Angel.
Oh yeah.
You know who he is?
He was in Buffy, right?
Yeah, in Buffy. Yeah, he's going to be the mad scientist father. So he's probably the biggest name out of those group of actors. But they all look the part pretty damn well. It's exciting. It's going to hopefully turn out better than I even thought. Like, I wasn't even excited about this project until they announced this cast, and it looks like a damn good cast. So,
what do you think? Because the Cloak and Dagger, I know them. I'm a fan of those characters.
Yeah,
those characters were in the Runaways series.
They were at the end of the first arc. Like, the Pride, one of the policemen who were working for the Pride hired Cloak and Dagger to try and find the Runaways, because Cloak and Dagger themselves, their whole origin story is that they were runaways themselves, and they specialize in like juvenile cases, kind of superhero cases.
Right.
So that's when they get started on that comic, and that's the whole reason why I even picked up the comic. Is because
are these shows related? Are they? What network are these shows even appearing on?
So Runaways is going to be on Hulu, and you're going to be able to binge it once it comes out. But Cloak and Dagger is going to be released over a season on Freeform television.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know if they're connected or if they're even going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that they are. I think they both are.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think so. Hopefully. Don't quote me
I
on
didn't
that.
think any of the...
It was my inclination that Cloak and Dagger were going to be tied into the MCU on Freeform. I wasn't sure about Runaways. Speaking of Cloak and Dagger, that show was cast too. Again, you may not recognize the names.
I didn't recognize the names, and I didn't recognize the photos either. But the photos, the actors looked spot on.
Yeah. Aubrey Joseph will be playing Tyrone and Cloak, and Olivia Holt will be playing Tandy/Dagger. So it's kind of cool to see how like this show is coming out later this year along with Runaways. It would be even cooler to see if they guest spot on each other's shows. Like maybe Cloak and Dagger show up on Runaways, and they kind of form their
like
own.
The CW or I guess the Netflix shows too.
Yeah, if they kind of like show, kind of do the kind of cameo appearances, that'd be really cool. But yeah, excited for that, and I'm sure we'll be talking about those shows a lot more in the coming months. But another show that is coming out next month that we will be reviewing is the Iron Fist show, and we had a new trailer for that came out. It was the second trailer, I think, and it was pretty damn good. It started off with him like all kind of derelict and walking into his building and
derelict like the Zoolander.
Yeah, so he seems kind of like unlike say like the Arrow show where like he comes back and he's very world wise and everything like that. Here he seems very
he's still naive.
Yeah, very naive, and the kung fu action looks really good. It
looks really good. It looks like really smooth. Like I I don't know too much about that, but like almost looks like he's doing like Tai Chi. It looks like the actor, I forget his name, actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah. It seems very much like a kung fu show. Like, unlike Daredevil, which has, like a lot of martial arts action in it, it's not really like a kung fu show. It's more like a legal drama or whatever.
Right,
But like this seems much more heavily focused on the action, which is pretty cool to see. There's a shot like midway through the trailer where he's in I don't know if he's in Kunlun, which that is how you pronounce it.
Not Kunlun.
I always used to pronounce it Kaun Laun. But I guess it's Kunlun. But so he's in the Himalayas or something, and he's wearing this yellow robe. And it seemed very reminiscent of the robes that the students would wear in Doctor Strange in Kamar-Taj.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's going to be any link between Kunlun and Kamar-Taj. It would make sense since they're both like mystical and they're both in kind of the same area geographically. It would be really cool to see them tied together in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I don't know. I'm still not convinced that they're in the same universe.
They're in the same universe. Get over that, man.
Not convinced.
Get over that. We see Colleen Wing fight. She looks pretty cool. And we get to see a lot more of the Iron Fist in action. Now, we only see it being used to throw punches and stuff.
Right.
I'm not sure if they're going to show it portrayed in doing other things that he can do in the comics, like to heal himself. Or like put it in like different parts of his body,
like his dick,
iron dick, or put it in his foot and you need to do an iron kick, whatever. Or maybe like sometimes in the comics he's actually like shot it out like a Hadouken, kind of like Ryu.
Oh, that's cool. It still has that like weird like revving up kind of like tech sound. I'm still not sure whether or not that bothers me.
It does sound kind of techy. Well, the music itself sounded kind of techy too, because it was dubstep, which is, I mean, like it went. I think the dubstep kind of went well with the action. I think it didn't go very well with the title card, because the title, like the dragon, is all mystical and stuff like that, and you hear like ding, 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 kind of tech noises. But yeah, I was saying, I was wondering if he was going to do other stuff with it. I almost think that they need to show him doing other stuff than just putting it into his fist and punching things real hard. Because you already have two other characters on the Defenders who can
punch really hard.
Yeah, so it'd be cool if they show him doing different things. That shot at the end, though, was pretty sweet.
Oh, where like all the glass is flying everywhere?
Yeah. It was a pretty powerful punch. It reminded me very much of the first Thor movie when Thor was on Jotunheim with the Frost Giants, and he like strikes his hammer down on the ground and like pretty much like destroys the whole place.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. I thought it was funny with Claire's line, like, I'm Iron Fist. And she's like, well, who the fuck is that?
And she's like, what the hell does that mean?
Oh, yeah. So it's like,
yeah.
Who's I forget the actor's name, the villain of this the show.
The guy who plays Harold Meacham.
Yeah, he was in Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, he was Faramir.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
He has like a broad range. I remember seeing like Van Helsing, and like it took me like I realized like, where do I know this guy from? Oh, it's Faramir from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. It looks good. I think he's a good actor, and Harold Meacham was a pretty good villain.
I didn't even know he was going to be in the show.
The actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know either until I saw this preview.
And Madame Gao looks like she's. Is it Madame Gao? Is that her name? It looks like she's going to have like a bigger role in this show.
Interesting. I'm thinking though that he needs like a more physical threat, and those two seem very like overhead kind of. So they still showed the logo of the Steel Serpent in this trailer, that red dragon thing. Yeah. So I'm wondering if he's going to show up eventually.
I just hope they don't make the same mistake as Luke Cage, where like it's like, oh, we need a physical threat, so then they bring in Diamondback.
Didn't we report like months ago that Steel Serpent was cast in the show?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. We talk about so many things. Either way, I'm pretty sure he's going to show up on the show, so that'll be exciting. Overall, I think the tone seems like a lot of fun. It might be like Jessica Jones was like a good show, but it was very serious and kind of dour. This kind of seems like it'll be a little bit more fun. So looking forward to it next month when we review it. So
that soon. That's right. Holy cow.
Yeah. Speaking of TV shows, we had 2 television shows have their pilots last week. One was a DC pilot and one was a Marvel pilot. It's not often that happens, so let's talk about it. How was the Powerless pilot?
The Powerless pilot...
It's on NBC, right?
Yeah, it's on NBC.
Yeah.
It was complete dog shit. Yeah, it's probably the worst.
Oh, no.
The worst pilot I've ever seen.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Was it because they changed it? Could you tell?
I think so.
Could you tell see the seams?
Well, yeah, actually, there were definitely moments where like they kind of felt like they spliced in elements from like the previous pilot into the new one. Where like there was like this interesting, I guess, and I could be wrong because I haven't seen the original pilot, but it looks like the character who plays her dad in the new version, I think, was the character who reviews said was like her old boss in the original one who like got killed or something like that. She really looks up to him. I don't know. It was just weird cutting. It looked like it came from a different different series.
How was the Crimson Fox stuff?
It was brief. It was really brief. We found out the guy who's like throwing fireballs and stuff at her. Like they haven't mentioned Crimson Fox by name. I don't remember, but she didn't play a big role at all. The guy who throwing the fireballs and stuff was Jack-o'-lantern, and he's kind of like a city nuisance like throughout the entire episode. I'm just gonna spoil the whole episode for you because like don't even bother watching it because it's just so freaking terrible. So like in the episode, I forget the character's name even, and I forget the actress's name now too. Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens' character is like very like happy and plucky. And excited to be in Charm City and working for the Wayne subsidiary company. She reminds me a lot of like
Charm City. Is that from the comics?
Not that I know of. It could be. I've never heard of it though,
Okay.
Which is weird. Again, it's like this show should have taken place like in Metropolis or Gotham City. They reference Batman a lot in this episode.
Well, Wayne.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so like she reminds me a lot of like Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec, and. Like, it has such a good cast. With Danny Pudi and Alan Tudyk, the writing is just friggin' horrendous. It's just really bad. She arrives in Charm City to like head up this like product division for a Wayne subsidiary company that makes
security devices.
Yeah, security devices,
yes.
Personal security devices. And like they had this huge hit in this anti-Joker Venom thing. So like Joker Venom is an issue in this universe.
Huh. That's cool. Like an antidote for Joker Venom.
But that's like the only thing they've managed to come up with, and they can't compete with Lex Luthor. So in the episode, they find out that their division, their company, is being shut down, and so Van Wayne, who is actually a character from the comics.
He is?
Which like shows my comic cred.
How do you know?
I read it somewhere.
Okay.
But yeah, Van Wayne, I forget his full name.
Van Wilder Wayne.
Van Wilder Wayne. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a legit character from the comics. And so he's all excited because this means he gets to move to Gotham City and not have to be stuck in Charm City. Mm-hmm. And be closer to his cousin who like he looks up to and sort of like exists within his shadow. Mm-hmm. And so so like the whole premise of the episode is that like they have 24 hours to come up with this hit product that's going to keep their company afloat. Uh-huh. But the thing is like all of the characters other than Vanessa Hudgens' characters are all asshole shitheads.
All of them?
Yeah, like they're all like just really
Danny
bad
Pudi?
attitudes. Yeah, even Danny Pudi's character. They all like hate their new boss because like she's like the 5th one they've had in like a year or whatever. Huh. And just like the characters are not like endearing at all. It's like the writers were like, oh, we don't care if you like them because like they're just shit asshole heads. And
we don't care if you like them because the show's going to get canceled in a few weeks anyway.
It seems that way. And so it's like Vanessa Hudgens, she has to like do everything she can on her own and try and rally this team that hates her. Like one of them creates like this like device that senses whenever like she's nearby, so she could like make some like rude quip or something like that. Just dumb, so dumb. And by the end, the thing that they come up with to save the company is just so
what is it?
Stupid. So Jack-o'-lantern has been like terrorizing the city throughout the episode. They come up with a device that smells when he's approaching and it will alert you.
What? Does he have really bad BO or something?
He must, because evidently, how do they know what he smells like? And then like the way it works is like it sensed him, and then like they had an entire conversation before he showed up. So the range on this thing is ridiculous, and it's just like this is not possible. This device should not exist.
If he smells that bad, don't you think they'd be able to smell him coming anyway?
Yeah, without their sensor, absolutely. it's
Couldn't he just wear cologne?
So dumb.
Or
It is so dumb.
that's funny. So basically, don't watch it.
Don't watch the show. I'm not going to watch it.
There's a second episode.
There's a second episode. I haven't seen it.
Are you going to? Like maybe they'll turn it around.
I don't have high hopes.
Was there anything good about it? Was it funny? Did you laugh?
I don't remember laughing. The coolest thing about it was actually the opening credit sequence. Mm-hmm. It was like they took comic book covers from like famous DC comics and then like put the characters from the show within those comics. Mm-hmm. So like the cover to like Action Comics #1 where like Superman is smashing a car.
Yeah.
So like they show that and then they like zoom in on that like panel, I guess, the cover. And, like, you see, like, Vanessa Hudgens' character. So, like, she was, like, one of the characters running away from that. And
okay.
it's pretty clever, I guess. Like, it's very DC. Like, watching it, you're like, oh, cool. If you don't know, like, what DC is, like, this is DC. All these different characters, and they have, like, Wonder Woman and Batman covers and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool.
So the characters in the show were, like, the
bystanders.
The bystanders on the comic covers.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was pretty well done, but as far as I'm concerned, that was the only good thing about it.
Huh.
And I really wanted to like it because of the cast, but I don't see the writers just don't know what to do with this cast.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it seems like the exact opposite show of Legion because I really liked Legion.
Go fuck yourself.
Legion was really good. Like the first half. Okay, so all the marketing material that you've seen, all the commercials and previews and stuff, the trailers,
yeah.
That's all from just the pilot episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all that footage that you saw was just from the pilot, and the show was kind of cut in the similar way too, where it jumps around back and forth, and like for the first half of the show, I really couldn't understand what was going on. Because he was like in the institution, then he was being interrogated, then he was talking to his therapist and all this different stuff. But so it was kind of frustrating. Mm-hmm. But by the end, the last half of the episode was a little bit more linear. So you just got to kind of stick with it, and it actually all makes sense. So I don't want to spoil too much though, because I think people should watch it. And Dan Stevens does a great job playing David Haller.
He's a good actor.
He's a really good actor. I haven't seen him in anything actually because I didn't watch Downton Abbey.
Yeah, I watched Downton Abbey. I think he's gonna be like a huge, pretty big star. Like after Beauty and the Beast comes out.
Yeah. Huh. Well, like yeah, he's. I was impressed. Like because it starts off with him. So I'll give you a vague gist of what the plot was. So he it kind of shows him growing up as a kid and like causing trouble basically. He ends up in a mental institution because he tries to hang himself.
Oh jeez.
And there he's on medication and everything, but a new girl comes in that he falls in love with, and she ends up leaving a short time after because she's declared sane. Uh-huh. So as she's leaving, he runs up to her and kisses her. And during the whole time that she's staying there, she doesn't like to be touched. She doesn't want to be touched. And he just figures it's like a mental thing. But he goes up and kisses her, and it turns out that apparently she has a mutant ability to swap bodies with whoever she comes into physical contact with. Huh. So, like,
is she a character from the comics?
Not that I know of. But so she so chaos ensues. Like there's everybody's like freaking out because I don't know what's going on. Basically, she goes into his body. She can't control his powers, and she causes like an incident. I don't want to get too much into detail, but he ends up leaving the asylum in her body, and eventually the bodies revert because this body switch is only temporary. Mm-hmm. So he's out in the real world, and he tries to find her again. But
Well, wouldn't she be in the institution
She was in the institution.
if they swapped bodies and he was still there?
Right. She ends up getting out, and they really don't explain how that happens. Like, a lot of things happen that you're not quite sure, one, if it's real or if it's just in David Haller's mind.
Ugh.
Two, if he's the one that's causing the stuff to happen. Because it might be, because there are other mutants in the show. And, like, there's a scene where, like, all these guys above the swimming pool, like, get incinerated and stuff, and it's not quite clear if it was him or if it was somebody else, if it was the girl, but her power was to swap bodies, not to blow people up, so it's not clear what he's causing to happen and what he's not.
And you liked it, even though it was confusing?
It's confusing, but it's actually really well made. It's hard to explain. Like, you kind of get the gist of, like, what the story was by the end.
I could see, like, that it was well made. Like, even from, like, the marketing material. Like, it looks like it has a good, like, budget. It has like, a cable budget.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely watch it. Again, like, the quality is on par with the Netflix shows, and I'm definitely going to continue watching this. And they showed, like, previews for what's coming up and everything like that, and it seems really interesting. So definitely check it out if you have not checked out Legion. It's worth it.
Nice.
So, but I think that is the end of all the news for this episode. So let's go ahead and review Lego Batman.
Let's do it. All right, welcome back. So both of us saw this movie last night, and going into it, like I liked the original Lego movie with
I thought it was
Chris
really
Pratt.
good. Yeah.
It was good. The themes I thought were a little heavy for children, like not like they shouldn't like experience them, but like I didn't think they were going to understand like the weightiness of the themes. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got that same sense from this movie. I took my daughters to go see it last night, and they didn't walk out of it as like thrilled as, say, something like the Trolls movie or like, Frozen or something like that, Finding Dory. But I walked out of it loving it.
Really?
I really, really liked this movie. I was laughing the whole damn time.
You were?
Yeah.
I didn't laugh too much, but I kind of have a view where, like, when I walked out of it, I wasn't sure how to view it critically, and I was almost thinking, well, maybe I'm not part of the target audience. Maybe it is geared a little bit more toward kids than I think, but I don't think that's necessarily the case because I've saw other animated kids films such as like Big Hero 6 or The Incredibles, and I loved those. And I don't know what it is about this one, and
Wait, you're saying you didn't like this movie?
I think I'm saying I didn't like it.
What?
Well, like, not that I didn't like it, but like I didn't love it, I guess.
I thought this was a really good movie. I thought they nailed the characters. I'm not sure who directed it.
They were so exaggerated, though. How did they nail the characters?
It was like a satire of the characters, but like they had a really good understanding of the characters and able to, in order to be able to satire it that well.
I feel like none of the characters in this movie were anything that I really recognized. Like Batman to me wasn't Batman. Joker to me wasn't
Batman.
Joker.
Was like
Robin wasn't Robin.
Batman was like, he's the parody of Batman where he's like, I'm Batman. From the YouTube channel How It Should Have Ended, and like the super cafe that they always have at the end. It's like that Batman.
Right. Well, obviously, but
how did you not recognize that?
I guess that's not really what I want to see from a movie, is what I think I realized. Like, what I was hoping for was like a kind of like a more grounded, intimate story, but the story was so
it's a Lego movie,
wild, and the visuals, right? But I mean, like you could go a little bit more smaller with it, I think, and have like a better film because of that. It was so all over the place.
It's a Lego movie.
Yeah, but the Lego movie itself was not that all over the place.
It absolutely was. It was even more so from all the different locations.
In terms of locations, I'm not referring to locations though.
And characters too.
Like, I couldn't
all over the place.
I couldn't connect with any of the characters, like the way you can, like in the Lego movie or with like other children's movies.
That's on you. That shit's on you.
Are you saying that you were able to connect with Batman?
Yeah, I thought it was it was a really really hilarious take on Batman. It was the Lego Batman. To me, this is like DC's Deadpool. I laughed like just as much.
You laughed just as much at this as you did at Deadpool.
Yeah.
I think I laughed twice.
Oh my gosh, you did not see it with the right people. I don't know.
It shouldn't matter who you see it with.
Well, like I kind of find that like when I go see comedies, especially, like if no one in the audience is laughing, I tend not to think the movie was funny. But the audience I saw it with was cracking up the whole time, and not just kids, but like adults. And in fact, the adults were cracking up way more than the kids. I loved it.
At what?
Like every single thing that came out of their mouths, it was just gold.
Out of their mouths?
The characters, yeah.
I guess.
Let's go through the film, and we can talk about like what we liked and what we didn't.
Yep.
So the movie starts off with Batman talking about the black screen and going through the logos and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty clever. It was DC really trying to get their name out there, I think.
Yeah.
With like the house that Batman built, kind of sets up a nice
Warner Bros.
Yeah. It was like it was parodying the opening to the Dark Knight films, where it was like really like serious,
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. And then you start off with the Joker's plan, hijacking the plane with all the explosives and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool to see all of the different supervillains. And this portrayal of the Joker, Zach Galifianakis, was a fantastic Joker, I thought. Really got to like...
He was a good Joker, yeah.
To like the hubris. It was one of the like better depictions of the Joker that I've seen. I think they like really nailed... it wasn't as like terrifying or anything like that as like Heath Ledger's, but in terms of like what I know from the comics, just like the Joker's obsession with Batman, they really nailed that.
They exaggerated it a little bit, I think, to the point where it was almost uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, but like it was hard to tell the exact nature of what he was looking for. Like obviously he wanted Batman to hate him and to acknowledge that.
He wanted Batman to be as passionate and as obsessive with him as he is with Batman. He wanted him to acknowledge that.
Isn't that like a weird motivation though? For
that is the Joker's motivation.
Is it though?
Yes.
In the comics, is that his pure motivation? That's his ultimate motivation there, to be recognized by Batman.
In a way, yeah.
I only think that's part of it. Like in this, he just seemed starved for attention and not necessarily as demented and evil, I guess.
He came across as pretty demented and maybe not evil in this, but he was definitely funny, which I always think is something that the Joker should be. Like, despite everything, he should always be funny.
Yeah.
And I thought he pulled that off in spades with his plan and just the wacky hijinks. And when Batman came in, I thought it was a great opening for the Batman, where he was like in disguise as the mayor, and then he just like goes into the song. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty. Well, like when he was like, I wrote a song about it, I'm gonna sing it now, or something like that. I was like, that was the first time where I kind of did like a mental double take, where I was like, what? He's gonna sing?
Oh yeah, it's the Lego Batman. Do you remember from the Lego movie where he was making those like he wrote a song for Wild Style?
Oh,
it was like darkness, no parents. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I guess. It was just, I don't know. It's like it's not a characterization that I would choose for my Batman parody, I guess.
This is Lego Batman.
Yeah.
This is not Batman. This is Lego Batman.
Yeah, but so he's Lego Batman, so you make him a musician kind of thing?
Yes.
It's just a weird choice, I think. Like, the song was funny and everything, but, like, everything was going so fast and crazy at that point. Like, I almost wish they had, like, slowed down just a little bit with it. Like I feel like I need to rewatch that scene in slow motion because it went so fast, and, like, you didn't really get to spend too much time with any of the rogues gallery.
No.
Which I would have liked. There was, like, I did laugh. Okay, I did laugh at the point where Killer Croc was like, I did something.
Yeah.
That was funny. But, like, he was just, like, flying all over the place, like beating these villains up like they were nothing.
Just being a badass. like doing backflips and with his car and singing about it.
Yeah, I think there was a nice little dig at Donald Trump, where like the line was like, "Who always pays his taxes?
Not Batman."
He's like, "Not Batman." Yeah, because I think on the soundtrack, if you listen to just the soundtrack, in that song, he says, "Who always pays his taxes?" And they're like, "Batman."
Yeah.
But in the movie, he said, "Not Batman." So
I think it was just a dig at rich people in America in general.
Yeah.
So I mean, then that all of this leads up. Like he defeats everyone, and then you kind of like set up like your central conflict between Batman and the Joker, where Batman essentially says like, "You're not important to me. No one is." And the Joker is just like horribly like offended by this. I thought that was. I think it's a great story element. And the fact that like it was done in this film, like it's really like it reminded me a lot of like the Killing Joke in a way, like how like they're opposites and like they like sort of created and sort of like need each other. I think it's kind of telling, like in the film later on when he's in the movie theater and he's laughing at the line that where in Jerry Maguire, where Tom Cruise is like, "You complete me," and just busts out laughing.
I did laugh at that part.
It was it's the same line that the Joker gave him in The Dark Knight, and it was even then it was like that. It's sort of like that same kind of theme of like them like needing and completing each other.
Is that true though? That's weird. Like I don't think Batman needs the Joker. And I don't think the Joker needs Batman. I think if Batman were to suddenly disappear or die, I think the Joker would continue doing on what he's doing.
Okay, so that's the whole question of the film. Is that true? Does Batman need his villains? Like, does he like what would he do if all of a sudden Gotham was crime free?
He needs his villains, and he doesn't,
because like the Batman for him is like almost like a coping mechanism for him.
Right. Okay, so the way I understand it is that he doesn't need them. But crime will always exist, so he'll always be a necessity. He'll always be needed. But he doesn't need any specific villain. Nor do I think that Joker needs Batman. Again, if Batman were to suddenly retire or disappear, Joker would keep doing what he's doing.
I think Batman is Joker's whole motivation for doing what he does.
I mean, I totally disagree.
You take a look at something like The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. Like when Batman was in retirement, the Joker, like was
he was in an insane
asylum. In his insane asylum. It wasn't until he learned that the Batman was back out in the street that he reemerged.
That was something Frank Miller invented, though.
Well, yeah, but I think it completely makes sense. The Joker is so obsessed with Batman that he does need him.
What was the Joker doing during the whole Azrael story arc? When Batman's back was broken by Bane and he was out of commission.
I think he knew that it wasn't like
the real Batman.
The real Batman. And so I think he wasn't completely satisfied. I don't remember. Like I didn't really read the Azrael run, so I'm not sure.
Nightfall, I think, was the story arc. That just came to me. Is that right?
Yeah, it was Nightfall.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's just like, so the whole central thesis of the movie is not something that I necessarily agreed with. So maybe that's why it didn't gel with me. But anyway, moving on.
I mean, the central thesis, I mean, that was like the Joker's like central kind of thesis. But for Batman, it was, I guess it related in the way that like does like when Batman says like he doesn't need anyone. Yeah. And I guess like this whole movie is essentially like the story of how Batman learned that he could have a family.
Yeah, that was the life lesson that he learned. I think he summed it up when he said, sometimes people in your life go away, but that doesn't mean you stop letting them in.
Right.
Right. And he learned to let
Which
other people
I thought was pretty powerful, because like I really like just watch, once he defeats the Joker and goes back to his Wayne Manor and is just like really, holy shit, alone.
Those are the funniest parts of the movie for me. Like he got to the lobster and he put it in, and then like you see him eating it like alone in his boat.
Yeah.
Like, just like the loud noises, and then all of a sudden he just plays guitar, and the whole watching the Jerry Maguire thing. Are you okay?
Yeah.
The whole watching the Jerry Maguire thing, that was just hilarious.
Yeah. But like, and then him like just like looking at his parents, like you understand like why he wouldn't want another family after the traumatic experience of losing his original family.
Yeah.
I mean, just wanting to disconnect from that. It's a great sort of just like psychosis. That's not the right word. Great kind of just like
psychological profile.
I guess that's what I'm going for.
Okay.
Essentially that, yeah. Or it's like just psychology, I guess, behind the character. There really hasn't really been too explored elsewhere. So this film does a lot of things with the character that I like really appreciated. Not only with Batman, but with a bunch of other characters. That I'm glad. Like I hope other people appreciate this character as or see new things in it that they haven't before.
You know what I didn't appreciate?
Oh gosh, what?
His password to get into the Batcave.
Iron Man sucks.
Yeah,
that was great.
Like I was watching the movie and he's like, Iron Man sucks, and like Melissa, my wife, looks over to me and I just shake my head. But like there's a brief moment of silence, like everybody's like laughing, and there's like a brief moment of silence where he's like flying through into the landing pad or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a kid in the audience who was like, Iron Man sucks.
That's hilarious.
I did not appreciate it.
That was awesome.
I wanted to go grab that kid by the collar and ask him, what did you say? You know how badly I could beat you, right?
And then they do it again at the end.
Yeah. Man, you have a coughing fit going on right now.
Yeah, sorry guys, I have strep throat, so if I cough a few times. So yeah, I mean, so then after that you have, Alfred comes in and they talk a little bit about, what's going on with Bruce and how he doesn't, like, he's too much of a loner. Mm-hmm. And they go to the party for Commissioner Gordon's retirement.
Oh yeah.
So
I did think it was a pretty good scene when Robin, how he ends up getting adopted.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. Batman's just, like, too infatuated. He's just, like, saying whatever.
Like, should I get plastic surgery to increase the size of my eyes to make myself seem more vulnerable? He was like, yeah. I thought that was pretty good.
My name's Richard Grayson, but the friends in the orphanage call me Dick. Yeah, kids can be so cruel.
I did laugh at that part. Okay, I did laugh more than twice at this film. I laughed at least 10 times. That was pretty good.
So the Barbara Gordon character, I'm not thrilled that they made her commissioner. I never really like it when they make Bruce Wayne and Batgirl like a romantic item. It's like,
yeah, well, she's supposed to be Dick's like love interest,
right? Yeah, so whatever.
Which would be totally awkward in the Lego universe
for sure. I did like the call out to Nightwing at the end when he's going through.
When he's going through the costumes.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Anyway, so then you kind of learned that like Barbara Gordon has like this new plan for the getting rid of crime and
and it doesn't involve Batman.
It doesn't involve
basically.
Batman.
So,
yeah.
So.
And then having all the villains return and then surrender, I thought was really interesting. Like I didn't see that coming. There was a lot in this film that I just didn't see coming. It was really surprising for me. I felt like I went into this film like really, like the marketing was like really well done. Like it didn't tell me anything. Like I had no idea about like any of the villains from the Phantom Zone or anything like that.
Yeah.
Based on the marketing, so it was a really big surprise. So yeah, when the Joker like turns himself over and all the rest of the villains, and the Riddler's like, riddle me this. What just happened?
Okay, I did laugh at that part too. That was great, actually.
That was good. Yeah, I was like really intrigued as to like where this whole story.
Easy there.
Sorry, I was really intrigued as to like where this whole storyline was going.
Yeah, I didn't see him like. So it looks like they kind of like psychologically manipulated him into stealing the Phantom Zone projector.
Yeah.
Just do a subliminal messaging, and then I guess he goes back and tries to make his plans.
Yeah.
And then Alfred's like, "Well, you adopted a kid."
Yeah. But like the whole thing where like Batman's like standing on the lamppost outside like the Arkham Asylum, just like spying on them. I thought that was hilarious too. And just like it really was like a great Joker plan. Like the way to like defeat Batman is to get rid of all the crime yourself.
Make him irrelevant.
Yeah, make him irrelevant.
It was funny. I liked how Joker was teaching the rest of the rogues a yoga class, teaching them yoga.
Yeah. The Bane voices got me every time too.
Because they did that Romani accent thing.
Yeah.
God, is that going to be like canon now? Is he always going to be?
I don't know.
Voice?
It was interesting.
I hope not.
The scene when back in the Batcave when Alfred reveals to him that he adopted a kid. I just love Batman's reaction to that too. And Michael Cera, he did an all right job as Dick Grayson.
He did. The only criticism I would have of his performance would be it was annoying how he always called him Dad
And Padre and stuff like that.
Padre.
Yeah,
but other than that,
that did get annoying
because I just wasn't used to that. Like again, it's the whole characterization, stuff I'm not used to.
Right.
So while I know in the comics that Bruce Wayne did legally adopt Dick Grayson, it wasn't until like Dick Grayson was already an adult by that point,
and Dick never calls Bruce Dad.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Or Padre or Papa or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when he does get the Robin costume on and they, go out to the Fortress of Solitude to steal the Phantom Zone projector.
That was a great scene.
That was a fantastic scene.
Starting off with the party.
Just we're like, Channing Tatum as Superman opens the door. He was like, oh, hey, you came here right now. And then it turns out, they're having the 50-something anniversary of the Justice League and Batman wasn't invited. That was sad, but hilarious. And just to see all the other characters that were there from, like, the Super Friends, like Black Vulcan and Samurai and stuff like that. I was like, oh, cool, nice shout-outs.
Yeah. A lot of obscure characters.
Yeah. And then I like the way they incorporated, like, the whole Master Builder thing in various parts of the movie.
Yeah, that was cool. I think that might have been the most exciting and intelligible scene in terms of the action, like easy to understand. The action of when Robin's stealing the Phantom Zone projector, I thought that was one of the best action scenes because it was easy to follow and it was funny and it was just cool looking. Like how he created the skateboard, he started like master building himself, and it was cool to see like how talented he was and stuff.
Yeah,
I liked that scene.
Just really good like story set up to like introduce the Justice League, have the two bond and stuff like that. I thought it was really, this whole movie was just like really well written, I think. I'm not fucking who wrote it, I don't even know, but kudos to them, whoever wrote it. So yeah, once they get the Phantom Zone projector, they of course go to Arkham Asylum and use it on the Joker, which
I like the whole like empty your pockets thing. I thought that was pretty funny. He was like, well, they're like, why'd you take off your pants? He was like, my boots are connected to my pants. I thought that was pretty funny.
It was interesting to see Batman and Robin getting locked up.
Pantsless, singing, both rapping without pants.
Well, not even that, because they had the prison jumpers.
Oh, by that point they did. That's true.
Like to see Batman go far enough to get imprisoned is like that was like the one like characterization. It seemed like just more like a convenience for the story to have him like he just needs to be near Barbara Gordon at the time or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But seeing the Joker go into the Phantom Zone was pretty cool too. I did not expect to see all of those characters there, and I was like,
yeah,
like I got super excited and super happy to see all of them. See Sauron again. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was all WB property villains.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it almost felt like we were back in the Lego movie at that point with all the different genre mixing and stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that either, but it was cool to see. Like, it kind of, like the Lego universe is separate from like the DC cinematic universe, so obviously we'll never see that happen. But when it can happen, when you do have these franchises that can mix, it's cool to see happen.
Yeah. I was surprised to see, like, in the credits that Eddie Izzard did the voice of Voldemort.
Right, because you have Ralph Fiennes.
You have Ralph Fiennes. Which, by the way, I just recently learned that it's how you pronounce... It's not Ralph Fiennes or Ray Fiennes.
Man.
It's Rafe?
Everybody knows that.
Fiennes?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it's always been.
All right.
Since back in the day.
But anyway, the fact that he didn't do Voldemort's voice was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I kind of thought he did. Yeah, because I thought it sounded a little bit like Ray Fiennes, and so I thought he did 2 roles. But yeah, didn't do it. What was that computer thing? The one that like it was just a Lego block that lights up.
I have no idea.
Could tell like what you did that was bad.
Yeah,
kind of like the gatekeeper to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, that's exactly what she was.
I think it was Ellie Kemper that did the voice for her.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I don't know if that was canon.
I don't think it's canon. I think it's just like a strange Lego thing. I don't know.
Plot device.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did. I'm trying to think of what happens next in the movie, but to jump ahead a little bit, I did think it was cool when Joker was coming out of the Phantom Zone, and like that whole kind of like little light show that he had up in the sky.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens next. Joker releases all the villains while Joker and Robin are locked up.
Okay,
and so Barbara Gordon has to let them out so they could all fight them together.
I'm gonna go loot now.
The citizens of Gotham are just dumb jerks. Don't do that. So
I think Sauron was my favorite of the villans.
And Voldemort was cool too. The way that like they depicted like his smoke and stuff like that.
You're a frogfish. That was cool.
So yeah, once they like the team up, the teamwork they did in finding those guys, really I think was like a big, because like this film really has like multiple climaxes. You know, it has a very.
It felt longer than it actually was.
Yeah, and I think it's
because of that.
I think it's because of that. I think like this whole like big battle, you think that you would expect that to be like the ultimate, like the final fight.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. Right. Really, it was just like second act team building essentially.
Yeah, which
is crazy to see it go up against like these huge guys.
I like those the craft that Batman is able to master build, and that was a really exciting scene as they were falling down almost into the lava, and they were building it really quickly. But it was called the Scuttler.
Yeah,
Scuttler. But I guess that's a species of bat or something, because it was able to like crawl like a bat would, but it was also able to fly.
Yeah,
so that was pretty cool. I liked that.
Yeah. And then like they all had like their like a personal each of the like new Bat family members had their own like specialties. So you had Robin like taking out the gremlins. Which was really cool with his what do you call it? It was gymnastic karate. I forgot what the name of it was, but and then
Barbara was the pilot.
And Alfred was the gunner. It was a nice like just like character building moment. So you totally felt like once that was done and they made their way back to Wayne Island, which that was cool to have Wayne Manor on its own island, separated from everything else.
I think it was just part of the metaphor.
Of course. Like you really understood like they didn't need to like explicitly state like why Batman was turning them away, because like
that was easy to follow.
Could feel it was definitely easy to follow
with the photo and everything.
Yeah. Why he didn't want them around, because he's protecting himself essentially. He's protecting himself from being hurt that in that devastating wave from when he lost his parents. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a good writing right there. So when he goes to face the Joker himself, and they have that moment where like the Joker just wants Batman to be passionate in some way, just not apathetic towards him, because like Batman is so important to him. And he's just like, I just want to hear you say I hate you. That was cool.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then sending him to the Phantom Zone. That was another good moment where like Batman, like I if you ask anyone else like if Batman is a good guy, anyone else would say yes. But like readers of the comic know that like Batman is the one character who like is dark enough to like be on that borderline.
Not quite an anti-hero, but he toes the line of being an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Because like an anti-hero, you could, like the Punisher or Ghost Rider, you could clearly look at their actions and say, oh, this is a bad person.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking, even though what they do is for the greater good, their means of doing it is not. And like, Batman toes that line for sure.
He goes right up to that line.
Yeah.
So, again, something that I feel like hasn't really been explored too much.
In the movies, yeah.
Yeah. Across like, a mass media, broad media.
Apparently, they're going to address some of that in the next Justice League movie, though, where he kind of, I don't know if they're going to explicitly state that, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have killed all those guys with my Batmobile in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, we'll see. Superman inspired him. Life is more sacred than that.
In Batman vs Superman, Batman is definitely an anti-hero.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Sort of like along the lines of like The Dark Knight Returns. I would say he's much more of an anti-hero in that.
Actually, now that just mentioning the cinematic universe, was that a dig at Suicide Squad as they were leaving Arkham Asylum? And she was like, you want to take these guys too? And he was like, why would I assemble a team of villains to fight a villain? That's stupid.
Yeah. Again, what's the whole Killer Croc thing? Like, yeah, I did something. It's like this self-depreciating humor kind of thing.
Yeah, taking stabs at Suicide Squad I thought was pretty funny.
Right.
At least they acknowledge it.
Yeah. So when Batman like learns that like he's kind of been a douchebag and only been doing this to, like for selfish reasons, pushing people away, he comes back and he's just inspired by the courage of Barbara, Alfred, and Robin, who care enough about him to risk themselves because they're not Batman. They're not as badass and as him.
Right.
So that was a good moment, and to have them all come back, and then I did think it was interesting that they assembled all the Bat villains. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
if
and the
they
fact
would
that
follow Batman.
Yeah, and the fact that the villains followed him and didn't pull any fuckery.
Right. I don't know if it was just because of their vendetta against the Joker for like capturing them or surrendering them or what.
But it's kind of what you've always wanted to see. Admit it. You've always wanted to see, because I think you've always wanted to see Batman lead his villains in battle against somebody else. Because who knows?
I'm thinking of like two moments specifically. There was this comic in let's choose, when was it? I think it was the 90s, where it was like Justice League Arkham.
Yeah.
Where Batman leads that team, and then like even now in the comics, Batman's assembling his own Suicide Squad.
Oh, really?
Or he has done that.
I remember in the Justice League Arkham comic, Joker ended up turning against Batman, right?
Yeah.
But it was hilarious because I remember, like, as they were charging into battle, the Joker was like,
Arkham Assemble!
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely was cool to see, like, everyone get like their own costume and vehicle and stuff like that. It's like, it's a toy maker's like dream for that to happen. Wet dream, exactly. Yeah. So and like these constant states of climax, like I should have seen like it all leading up to like Gotham splitting from like they did some pretty heavy foreshadowing.
They set it up
in the beginning. I didn't see that happen though, but like for it all like fit together really nicely, pun intended. At the end, where like they're all like using their ab strength to bring the city back together and bridge this gap, this rift between hero and villain and stuff like that, because they all kind of like need each other and everyone needs someone.
I just thought of the funniest moment of the movie.
What?
It was right before that, when they were fighting against the villains and how they defeat Sauron.
With Godzilla?
With the Godzilla, the fireball thing.
That was way before that. That was before they went to Wayne Island, though.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, never mind. That was hilarious. So he's like, oops, nothing to see here. Anyway, so they, I don't know. I kind of almost felt like that was, I don't know how I felt about that whole moment where they like connect their heads and hands to rebuild the city.
It was very Lego.
How did everybody else know how to do that? It's not like he had like a megaphone or anything to communicate to the citizens of Gotham.
Yeah, there was one scene where like you just hear his voice, but like everyone in Gotham hears it.
Yeah, that was a little weird, but I guess it was just part of the metaphor.
There you go. Yeah. Mi hijo. It means my son in Spanish. So he gets rejected from the Phantom Zone, and they're all big one happy family, and all the villains escape, and they let them. It's essentially the end of the film. It brings us to the end almost.
Well, he lets the villains escape because he knows that, and that's his lesson learned, is that he knows that together they're more powerful than he is alone, and he doesn't care if they escape because he knows that they could just get them back to Arkham,
right,
as a team.
Yeah.
Was Alfred's costume? What was that? It looks familiar. He looked like Kato from Green Hornet.
That's what I was thinking. I thought it was Kato.
Yeah.
Which I like both of his costumes. I liked he's like, I missed the 60s. and then Kato. I thought both of those worked. I was happy with both of them.
Yeah. I did laugh again when they were all watching Jerry Maguire again. So at the end, were like Barbara and Bruce an item? And were they raising?
I don't know. She definitely knew he was Bruce. He kind of gave away his secret identity when he revealed it to Robin. It's like, oh, my 2 dads are 1 dad.
Yeah.
So the end of the film wraps up with like, all great films end with white, and it's followed up by the Robin song that makes studio execs happy.
Yeah, it was like a sing along, like kiddie kind of song. Yeah,
very Lego again.
Very Lego. Yeah. I actually waited until the end of the credits to see if there was anything. There wasn't.
Oh, there wasn't? Okay, good. I was going to ask you about that because I had to leave because my daughters were tired and crying, and it's like, all right, let's go. We'll just go.
Yeah, I think the movie was barely over an hour and a half, but it felt like a 2+ hour movie.
Yeah, and again, like my daughter Grace, she's 6 years old. She was excited to see the movie, but like I kept looking at her reactions during the film. She definitely wasn't. She didn't understand all of the humor. She didn't understand all of the themes.
Yeah. You chewing on your cough drop?
Yeah, sorry.
I can hear that.
So I definitely think that. But I felt the same way with the original Lego movie too.
But I connected more with the Lego movie than I did the Batman movie. Like, I think it was a better movie. And like now that we're at the end, if you want to give your overall score, if I had to give this one a score, like I would give the Lego movie 4 stars. Like I would give you compared this to Daredevil. You compared the Lego Batman movie to Deadpool.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie was as good as Deadpool. Quality wise, like even in terms of humor or anything, I would give Lego Batman 3.5 stars.
Ugh. Isn't that the same thing we gave Suicide Squad?
No, we gave Suicide Squad 3 stars.
I think this was as good as Deadpool. I think this is
you're out of your mind.
A 4-star film. No, I don't think so at all. It was just as funny. It was probably even more like thematically interesting and I don't want to say relevant, but like
was it just as funny?
Like there was more to chew there. Yeah, absolutely. It was just as funny. Ask anyone else who saw the film. I thought it was hilarious.
My wife didn't think it was funny.
I was laughing during the whole thing. Like, I have strep throat right now, so I was cough laughing. I was probably annoying a bunch of people, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't stop laughing.
Okay. You're such a DC guy.
No, it wasn't just because it was DC either. I mean, it was just a funny film.
Honestly, the first thing I said after the movie ended is I looked at Melissa and I said, that film got a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes?
I think it's a 91 right now.
91?
Yeah.
Oh, at one point it was 98.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that was weird because I didn't think it was as good as Lego Batman.
Or the Lego movie?
I'm sorry, the Lego movie. So yeah, 3.5 stars is what I give it.
I would say it was as good as the Lego movie. I think it was right along those lines.
And Deadpool, which we gave 4 stars.
Yeah.
So you're giving it 4 stars.
I'm giving it 4 stars. Yeah.
Okay. I give it 3.5.
So fool, you fool.
Yeah. Overall, like again, like you can't really judge the movie critically because at no point does it ever take itself seriously. But what I think I would have enjoyed more is maybe a smaller story.
No way, it's Lego. With Lego, you need to get like as big as possible.
I would have liked
and you don't get bigger than like Sauron and Voldemort and stuff like that.
I would have
like when else are you going to see all of those badass villains in one story? That was so cool. Godzilla and Joker. What?
I don't need that in a Batman film. I don't
need
a
Lego Batman movie.
I don't need half of that in a Lego.
This is not a Batman movie. This is a Lego Batman movie.
Whatever. That's what got me. Like I would have enjoyed a smaller story with a little bit more accurate characterization.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit less exaggerated characterization, I think, especially from Robin. But other than that, it was
I think all of the characters fit this world really well.
This world,
like
yes.
They really the filmmakers really took what Chris Miller and Phil Lord did with the first Lego movie, and really like the only like difference I really felt was like the way that they depicted water was different. But But other than that, like it was the exact same world and the exact same just like zaniness and over the top craziness. But like a deep, just sort of like heartfelt truth behind the scenes.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I didn't watch this in 3D though, because there were some parts where there was just so much going on, and the style of animation, like it's computer animated, but it's done at a low frame rate to make it seem like stop motion.
Right.
When like stuff was happening so fast, I feel like if I was watching it in 3D, I would have understood even less what was going on, because I could barely understand what was going on at some points during the film.
I feel that for like a majority of films now, especially like superhero films.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't feel that way for all of them. I feel like I don't feel like that way for any of the Marvel movies, except maybe the intro to Civil War, where Black Widow's fighting. But anyway, do you think they're gonna make? Where do you think the Lego franchise is gonna go from here? Do you think they're?
It's gonna go to Ninjago next.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I saw that preview.
See, I don't really consider this to be. I don't. They may make a sequel to Lego Batman, but I still think like this is part of like the Lego franchise.
The Legoverse.
Yeah, the Legoverse. Yeah. It's more Lego
Did you see
DC.
Any DC film trailers before this? I didn't, because I thought I was going to see Wonder Woman and I didn't.
No, I wasn't expecting to. I was expecting to see pretty much exclusively animation.
Oh, okay.
Which there was Ninjago, there was Despicable Me 3. I forget everything there was, but no, I wasn't expecting to see anything live action.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this review.
Yeah.
And for this episode. Real quick, let's go into that hint for the trivia question.
Yeah.
So the trivia question, it was Valentine's Day themed. The question was, in the comics, which Marvel character has locked lips on several occasions with which DC character? So we're looking for two names here. And the hint is that one of the characters is a vampire. So go ahead and submit your answer to dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com. Or you can answer the question on Instagram and Twitter. The first one to answer correctly gets a no prize. And that does it for this episode.
Next... Yeah, but before we sign off...
Oh, sure.
Let us know what you thought of the Lego Batman movie. Was it as funny as I say it is, or do you think it was like not funny at all?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Because I feel like I don't have kids. I didn't take any kids to it. It affects the viewing experience, I think.
And again, I think even if I didn't take my daughters, like I would have been cracking up as much because again, I find it more funny than they did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Definitely curious to hear what other people. I think the critics found it as funny as I found it, but I want to know what fans think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, let us know. Twitter, Instagram, email.
Reach out.
Yeah, reach out to us. There's just comment sections on SoundCloud and things like that. So, so next episode, which will be in 2 weeks, we will be reviewing No, I'm sorry.
No, it's a Battlecast.
It's a Battlecast episode. Yeah, Logan doesn't come out for a while. It's still only early February, so it's
going to be Logan related.
Yeah, I think it will. I think we settled on Wolverine versus Hawkman.
Yep,
is what we're gonna do. So that'll be the next episode. So tune in for that because that'll be a fun one. God, I hope Wolverine does not lose that one.
He's gonna lose that one.
He's not gonna lose that one.
I'm telling you, he's gonna lose.
Fuck you. He's not gonna lose that one. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
So until that time,
up and away,
true believers.